It was America, the muscular home of the massive and land of the defined exploding on the prejudging and judging platforms of Philadelphia Civic Center on June 20th, 1976. As everyone knows, America celebrated its 200th birthday bicentennial in 1976, and the Amateur Athletic Union popped off its Mr. America firecracker one day before the beginning of the summer in red, white, and blue territory. The Mr. America Physique event concluded 3 days of the U.S. Senior Weightlifting Championships and final Olympic tryouts that took place in the city of brotherly love. The Mr. America event itself was composed of high-quality talent from around the Big 50, including Alaska, California, Michigan, Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Arizona, to list just a few of the country's reps in the nationwide physique search for an annual champion and bicentennial hero. The day was Sunday and the time was 9 a.m. as one approached the Civic Center to gear into the prejudging. Outside stood a mass of well-dressed men with their lovely ladies and friends waiting for the doors to open. Others in the mulling crowd were the privileged spectators, the audience. The steps inhabitants were sense and tension polite. Alex McNeil smiled his quite personable southern smile. Vic Speak walked proud, being a man over 40 and looking late 20-ish. Clint Burrell played cool, and Pat Neve clung to his beautiful wife Vicky. Vicky would later tell this reporter, "I think he trained harder than anybody here. It was probably because he did so well last year, it put more pressure on him this year. He went into the contest last year hoping to place in the top 10, and was thrilled with third place. The prejudging would light the fuse and would sparkle and ultimately decide the new king of American bodybuilding, to explode into the night stars downstairs in the main auditorium. The physique work session and personal interviews of contestants took place upstairs in a private hall and staging site. Both the morning and evening unfoldings were verbalized by Len Bosland on the microphone. Len is neat, precise, and knowledgeable, with a voice that needs no amplifying and pronunciation clarity, which makes his descriptive narratives easy to follow. He himself is a former Mr. New Jersey title holder. The judging panel attacked the gathered champions from across the nation with supreme seriousness and hard, sober scrutiny. They included Perry Rader of Ironman magazine, Dr. Michael Wasik, Tom Sikola, publisher of American Bodybuilder, Chris Dickerson, Mr. America and Mr. Universe, Val Vasilev, Mr. America 1964, Jim Mannion, noted Pennsylvania physique champion, Jim Neely, Anthony Nicolini, AAU, New Jersey region official, and Jim Ratz as scorekeeper. Their job from one angle appeared simply that of a new Mr. America, yet from another angle it was nerve-wracking. There's nothing worse than a muscle appraising induced headache. The men who would lead in 1976 would have to be something special, both in physique and manner, for he would represent a nation of barbell worshippers and, in 1976, a tradition of 200 years of democratic beliefs to this entire world. These were the ground rules for selecting this special mind and bodied individual. The use of cosmetics, oil, and artificial coloring or makeup was forbidden. Anyone known to have used drugs, e.g. narcotics, would be eliminated. During the prejudging phase of the contest, contestants would have to appear for an interview in street clothes. 4. The interview would either precede or follow group and individual posing by all contestants. Posing lights provided during the prejudging session would be similar to those used in public presentation phase of the contest. 5. During prejudging, the judges by unanimous vote could eliminate any contestant who did not meet the standards expected of the contest being judged. 6. During the public presentation phase, the contestant would be allowed 60 seconds for individual posing. He should include at least one front pose, one side, one back, and one optional pose in his 60-second posing routine. A special platform would be provided with lighting suitable for music display and posing. Muscle control would not be permitted during this posing routine. Muscle control in which a single muscle or group of muscles are caused to twitch intermittently or otherwise unnaturally would not be permitted. 7. All athletes should conduct themselves in a sportsmanlike manner during the entire contest. Judging was not final until the public part of the presentation had been completed. Athletes leaving before that time would not be scored or placed. In theory, these rules were fine and indeed at this event were upheld by everyone in good stead. But among the contest fireworks for 1976 would be one unforgettable and unforgivable bomb of great magnitude for such an important undertaking as choosing AAU Mr. America. The lights at the evening public contest, there was not the same posing lights as used in the prejudging, and the illumination, to be quite frank, was nothing short of disgusting. Bearing in mind that there were lights set up for men who had traveled thousands of miles and trained many months to display themselves under, the prejudging lights in short were superb, as were the individual posing presentations, pose downs, and enabled the judges to make proper selections. But this was the only bomb as we see the night's spectacle in retrospect. The emerging contenders for the Mr. America crown broke down in this nature. For the short man class of 5 6 division, third, Tom Platz, second, Ron Tufel, first, Pat Neve. Neve and Quint Buriel, who competed in the tall man class, were felt to be the heaviest contenders for the overall first place, which would later prove to be remembered a surprising turn of events when it was announced. Had Platz been just a bit more defined, he might have nosed out Tufel for second, but such was not the case. In the medium height class, third, Fred Sandor, second, Joe Means, and first, Dave Johns. Sandor was neat, but needed more size to pass Means, who, although about the same in measurements, had the most definition of any contestant in the show. Seconded only by Pat Neve of the shorts. When the most muscular award was given, strangely Neve only placed third to a less cut, supermassive Kalman Szkalak, with Means winning first. Dave Johns' size was easily the winner of the medium height class, however. The talls over 5'10" division had Dusty Caldwell third, Quint Buriel second, and Kalman Szkalak first. The class did not contain the rough large entry of the other classes, which boasted men like Dick Baldwin, Jim Allen, Eddie Love, Vic Sleep, Bob Colucci, Tom Hicks, and Lawrence Gordon. But this mattered little, since the major Mr. America place winners did not come for their respective height classes, but rather by merit. In other words, the top three were selected according to physique rather than height class eliminations, which may be neither good nor bad, but simply a fact of the event. Pat Neve had remarked about that the night before, wondering if it would be possible for a short man to take the overall title. If eliminations had been the case, Pat would have again in the top three of the year 1976. Tall man Kalman Szkalak had only recently beaten mediums Johns for the Mr. California title, and the California Muscle Tongue Waggers were already predicting winners, and then came the final countdown. In their climb to the top awards, the winners had added various other titles to their crowns. The vein-ridded most muscular category, John slipped into fifth, Buriel more vascular than the fourth, Neve third, a surprise to everyone including Pat, hefty Szkalak second, and a practically skinless Joe Means clinched first as the 1976 America Most Muscular Man. Means also grabbed the Super Underpinning Award of Best Legs. The only other body part division award not to fall to the winner of the entire event was Best Abdominals. Ron Tufel, the 1976 Mr. Pennsylvania's Rectus set, carried that one off. At the final countdown, the shoddy posing light, pseudo-natural stage, luminescence no longer mattered. 200 years ago, there was no electricity. 200 years ago, men such as these did not exist. They were scarcely dreamt of by even the most fantasizing artisan in wine-induced, half-slumber-like creativity. But today they lived and walked the American earth, and tomorrow they'd be worshipped, and one would be muscle king of a democratic society. Such is the paradox of life. In third place was Clinton Dale Buriel of Pearl's Gym in Pasadena. In second was Dave Johns, another rep for the same muscle-building mansion. And then a skyrocket burst into the old red, white, and blue showering athletic bodybuilding glory into a dark night world. Best arms, chest, and back had been rolled back into his finest training hour, and now the new mighty monarch of American people was announced. Mr. America, Kalman Szkalak. The next day in Gold's Gym out in California, Kalman Zoltan Szkalak would be the only name in the Iron Air. In the days remaining in 1976, His bodybuilding methods would be the most sought after information in our world. And why not? He was Mr. America in America's biggest year. Happy birthday, America, and many of them.